She'd been blinded by light a moment ago, but now she's cast into darkness. If she had been conscious, she would have seen that it was a black polar light. The darkness was momentary. But it was not darkness, it was a swarm of tiny curses. The darkness sweeps her body away, and the discomfort jolts her to wakefulness. I sigh. The first thing her returning consciousness brings her is pain. Whatever parts of her were not protected by her armor are horribly burned, and her flesh has been brutally savaged by blades of all sorts. She is an dismal sight. I see, so I have. Ea defeated her. Gilgamesh unleashed his noble phantasms, and she could not defend against so many. Then Ea struck her. She barely managed to deflect it with Excalibur, but the damage to her body was too severe. Her wounds heal on their own without using magical energy, but even the protection of the sacred sword's sheath is unable to return her to full health in an instant. And then... This is it, Saber. I hope you're not still refusing to admit defeat even in this state. Gilgamesh walks forward, not a scratch on his armor. Saber lays on the ground, looking up at her enemy. There's nothing she can do right now. Nothing can stop him from doing whatever he likes with her now. Gilgamesh, what was that light? Despite the situation, Saber's more concerned about the light. That flash of light. That deep darkness that welled up from the far side of the temple and for a moment covered the world itself. She doesn't want to think about it, but that darkness might have been aimed at Shiro. That light just now, you know, it's the curse. Kotomina must have summoned it straight from the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail holds within it something capable of cursing the entire world. The entire world. The pollution we've seen so far is nothing more than residue leaking from the ground. And now it seems the main body has emerged. Your master is dead. That can't be. Saber wills her body to move. But she knows she can't. She can't just lay down, though. Shiro's alive. Still alive. I can still... She can still feel her connection with her master. It's weak, like the faint embers of a fire on the verge of going out, but Shiro is alive. She has to keep going. If he fights something unheard of or incomprehensible, Shiro will be no match for it. Saber clings to that faint warmth and again wills herself to move. But it's useless. Even the sacred sword's sheath needs a few more minutes to restore her. It's too late. Stay here, Saber. No matter what you do, the Holy Grail will soon overflow. It'll be a repeat of 10 years ago. This time, though, the ritual is for you rather than me. Huh? Is Kotomina just collecting servants? The Golden Knight smiles as he turns his gaze up to the burning red sky. Rejoice, Saber! Once the contents of the Grail have rained down upon you, you will become like me. You'll gain flesh in this world and enjoy your second life. It's actually not a bad deal. Of course, you may not retain your sanity as I have. Saber looks up at him, bewildered. She can sense the immensity of the curse. It is a magnificent cluster of magical energy with so much power any magecraft would be possible. Were caster to wield it, the possibilities would be endless. What is a double-edged sword? It curses humans and only humans. Even heroic spirits would not be able to remain themselves after coming into contact with that curse. That's when she realizes... Gilgamesh. A decade ago, that corruption even swallowed up the most ancient king of heroes. Then... Gilgamesh, do not tell me you... He's gone mad. Oh, do you think so, King of Knights? Gilgamesh looks down at Saber, laughing merrily. It's strange out of character for him, but the look seems somehow appropriate. Do not underestimate me. How could I call myself a hero if I could not drink up something so paltry as a curse? All the world's evil. Ha! It is nowhere near potent enough to contaminate my glorious self. Listen, Saber. A hero shoulders the weight of all humanity. And I did that eons ago. Hearing those words, Saber gasps. She knows in that moment that she will never understand this heroic spirit. His unthinkable arrogance, the staggering ego, leading him to believe heaven and earth exist only for him. His ruthless choices that bear no regard for any but himself. All these things are completely opposite to our own beliefs of what it is to be king. But he was a king. Even Saber cannot deny that. No other servant than Gilgamesh could have retained their sense of self after being bathed in that immensely powerful curse. Forcing you to swallow the mud will be entertaining. Once you lose your mind, my fun will be over. Let's resolve to be married before that happens. Oh. Gilgamesh, you are unbelievable. What is... I'm trying to figure... What? I'm trying to figure out what happened here. Did you, like, pick her up? Oh, do you dislike such rough treatment? Well, I'd best get used to it. I don't believe in restraint when it comes to women. Or food. I devour both as I please. Saber glares up at Gilgamesh as she hangs upside down. Huh. So you're acting out of a sense of duty to your master as a servant. Pathetic. I can't believe you gave him your body and soul simply because of the constraints of the command souls placed upon you. No, you misunderstand, Gilgamesh. I do not obey anyone. That is a freedom I have never had. Oh, so you're saying that you will not be mine, no matter what? His red eyes rake over Saber. They are entirely devoid of human emotion. If she disobeys, he will kill her, no matter how attached he may be to something. If it does not obey him, he will simply destroy it. That is simply how Gilgamesh sees the world. Saber doesn't look away. She simply glares hatefully at Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, I will never be anyone's possession. I belong to my nation. I am a king before I am a woman. She's not saying this to anyone in particular. She's simply expressing the tiny warmth still within her heart. Huh! Listen to you. Do not make me laugh, Saber. A country is simply one of its king's possessions. If he cannot rule everything, a transcendent being like a king serves no purpose. Honestly, King Arthur, it is no wonder your own country turned on you. The Golden Knight mocks her for her naivete. Her heart is set now. Yes, you are correct. But listen, King of Heroes. Your arrogance is what destroyed your country. Such fierce spirit. Saber twists her entire body, using the leverage to kick Gilgamesh in the face with her free leg. Gilgamesh releases her. Saber stretches her arms out and arrests her fall, then springs upward. You dare kick a man? It seems you really do require discipline, Saber! She closes her eyes and looks within herself. It's no wonder your own country turned on you. It's not news to her. Since her summoning as a saber, she's been hearing those words over and over. It's different with him. He grew angry with her as if it had been about him. But he also thought her actions were worthy of pride. She knows what she must do. Even if she has no hope of victory, she cannot stop here. She needs to do something while she can still feel that warmth inside her. She has to get to her master as fast as she can. She's at 8 meters from Gilgamesh. She positions herself at the ideal distance for intercepting an attack, which she's just experienced firsthand. Her body won't move the way she wants. She can barely grip her sword, and her legs are hardly able to bear her weight. Even a weak blow would be too much for her now. But she shows neither weakness nor hesitation. Let me ask you one thing. Even Gilgamesh feels he has to prepare himself. The Golden Knight readies his eyes on his opponent. Are you quite insane? Saber doesn't answer, but her determination is there to see in her eyes. Fine, then I will not hold back. The air itself roars. The sort of rupture from ancient Mesopotamia is said to have divided heaven and earth to create the world. Gilgamesh, the king of heroes, readies his supreme sword to finally put an end to his enemy. The atmospheric vortex it creates, the sheer quantity of converging magical energy far exceeds Saber's Excalibur. Begone! You are no more than an eyesore now, woman. Gilgamesh raises his sword. Saber mirrors the movement in perfect synchronization. Their eyes meet for an instant. Gilgamesh flourishes his sword. But Saber's sword falls to the ground, useless. She lacks the strength to activate her noble phantasm. The light which can sever all things bursts through her. Unable to do anything, she is swallowed up by the lights. Not how I imagined that would go. The moment I'm engulfed in darkness, hell itself is imprinted on my mind. The 5 starting penalties: life, body, imprisonment, humiliation, and finance. Let the myriad sins, mud, darkness, and malice continue to surround and punish all. Eliminate human rights through decapitation, exile, and repression. Let the body descend into a state of torment and debauchery. Eliminate group consensus by forfeiting honor. Die. Ridicule through greed and arbitrary decisions that freeze assets and property. Imprisonment, fines, the death penalty. Crimes committed in the name of personal grudges. Crimes committed to satisfy selfish desires. Crimes committed unconscious. Crimes proclaiming self-conscious. Civil disturbance. Solicitation, fraud, theft, robbery, kidnapping, self-harm. Violence, arson, bombing, infringement, manslaughter. Group violence. Professional negligence. Overconfidence. Die, die, die. Accidents by intoxication, cover-ups, crimes for personal gain, crimes committed in the name of the ego, crimes committed in the name of love, crimes committed in the name of virtue, crimes committed for themselves, theft, embezzlement, fraudulent cover-ups, contraband, crime, hate, grudge, attack, dirty, you're real dirty, atone, violence, crimes, victims, atone. This world is ruled by non-humans. Know your conscience to rectify your sins. Know the penalty of your sins. Herein lies the goodness of man, so plentiful that he is unaware of the totality of what he is exposed to. Know the violence used to cover up the crime. Know the authority that hides the crime. The malignancy of man is here, so rare and so hard to find that it stands out in sharp relief. 100 benign, 1 malignant to balance it out. The malignant shines strong and reigns as a mighty and vicious evil to compete with the benign masses. The 5 starting penalties. For you, repeated ad nauseum. Solicitation, fraud, theft, robbery, kidnapping, self-harm, tyranny, arson, infringement, a lot of dirties, all dirty, atone, violence, crimes, victims, atone, die to atone. Huh. My brain's going to explode. The mud's eating away at my body. It does not peel off. It mercilessly robs me of my warmth. I feel the horrible curse crushing all of my senses, crushing me. Darkness I can't look at directly. Ugliness I can't acknowledge. Crimes I want to run from. All man's sins. I'm going to die. Anyone caught in this darkness wouldn't be able to resist letting it devour them just from the sheer pain and disgust. But Kotomine said it once. This curse is what killed Kiritsugu. That's enough to banish the darkness. Oh. Heat returns to my body. Blood rushes through me, wounded as I am, and helps me get back to my feet. And why not? I mean, Kiritsugu Miya shouldered all of this for years. Did he die? His own wishes unfulfilled because those voices never stopped screaming at him to atone? He said he wanted to be a champion of justice. He ran around like an idiot trying to be useful to someone, and in the end, nobody let him do what he wanted to do. Even so, he still pursued something, the ideals he'd given up on. And in the end, the words of some silly kid lifted a burden from him, and he finally let himself believe that everything would be okay. I have to stand up. I said I was going to take his place and carry on his dream. If I really am the son of Kiritsugu Miya, the champion of justice, I can't let that bad guy beat me. Just like it told me. I need to win, even if it kills me. Saber told me. Kotomine is the enemy I have to defeat. Even Kotomine said, if I'm going to fight, I should put my life on the line. That's right. What can I put on the line here, if not my life? I don't have anything else to offer anyway. That's a lot of H's. I desperately leap out of the mass of black mud. I can hear a surprise. My throat is burning. Every breath is like swallowing glass. I don't care. Tears of frustration stream down my face. I might just burst from sheer anger before the curse can tear me apart. Impossible. Have you truly just shaken the curse off? I push my body, forcing it to run. One hand goes behind my back. I grip the dagger I've been concealing this whole time. Unbelievable. You managed to escape, and your next action is so pathetically foolish. I suppose you must simply have run out of ideas. Shut your damn mouth! I never had a plan in the first place! I run. Kotomine sticks his hand into the waterfall behind him and draws out another lump of darkness. Then you can follow your servant. That light that you saw earlier was Saber's defeat. You have no one to help you now. There's no more hesitation now. If I get my hands on Kotomine, he will regret what he just said more than anything else. I still have a command saw in my left hand. Ooh. I don't know if I'm alive or dead, but that is the proof, and I can feel the truth of it. As long as I still have my command spell, Saber's still with me. If she's still here, she must have defeated Gilgamesh and be headed to me right now. If I don't greet her with open arms when that happens, well, I know her well enough to know she'll be mad. So I'm going to beat you here and now to fulfill the promise I made to her. Darkness closes in on me. Kotomine releases a giant mass of curse. My body begins to crumble, starting with the extremities. I won't look away. This is my role. I'm not done yet. A fault line splits space itself. Whoa. With a flash of light and a roar of wind, air releases a vortex of pure destruction. The sheer intensity prevents Saber from using her own noble phantasm. So she lowers her sword and lets herself sway as if collapsing. The light draws near. Saber's too injured to dodge, and there is no shield capable of defending against A's attack. That fierce dance of light and wind can only annihilate everything in its path. Nothing can stand up to A. It is an immutable fact. Both of them knew it to be true. A few hours ago. For once, that astonished cry comes not from Saber, but from the Golden Knight wielding Air. Air continues to raise its sword into magical energy, unleashing a ravening beam of destruction. But Saber's on her feet, stepping into the light of A's power. Her silver armor screams, cracks splinter every layer of magical energy protecting her. With not a second to lose, she closes the gap between herself and Gilgamesh. To counter A's destruction, Saber releases every drop of power at her command. Searching heat scorches the earth in all directions in a brilliant flash of light. Two titanically powerful swords clash, their powers so vast it creates a visible border as the two struggle against each other. But is it all for nothing? Excalibur cannot beat Air. Even if Saber risks her life and attacks without concern for the consequences, she can only push back just the smallest bit. The scales tilt in favor of Air, and Excalibur's light weakens, pushing Saber back. I see, so you have lost your mind, Saber! The Golden Knight draws Air back, but then sees his enemy renewed, reckless advance, so he pours yet more magical energy into Air. There's no turning back now. All there is to do is use his full power to utterly annihilate Saber. His segments spin faster, 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 reaching their maximum speed, and the light that envelops Saber cuts Excalibur down. But in the instant before that happens, Saber charges. A tiny opening created by Excalibur's power allows her to take a single step closer, and the instant she reaches that space, her noble phantasm appears. Darkness buffets Shiro as if he were caught in a wind tunnel. There's no avoiding or deflecting darkness that coats space itself. Those swallowed by the darkness can only be consumed by it. He's corroding from the fingertips inward. His legs kick at the air as if swimming. His outstretched arms are swallowed up in the black mud. His vision fails him. It's like being erased. Shiro feels himself shrinking, but he refuses to die. He tries to look away, pours every ounce of strength he has into resisting. He fights the darkness covering him, the pain trying to melt his body, and the curse trying to dissolve his mind. It's all in vain. No human could resist this corruption. And yet he continues to move. His arm is still raised, held out trying to grab something. But his heart is already broken. His thoughts are smothered in darkness, and soon it will consume him. But in that moment, you are my... Why did he remember that voice? A light in the darkness. The moment he realizes it's that light, everything runs in reverse. The switch flips. His thoughts gain speed, creating crackling sparks and form the shape with astonishing speed. Oh, hello, Valentino. Yeah. Fun time to show up. He murmurs the spell to begin projection. In that instant, it's complete, skipping every step of the manufacturing process. He didn't need to reproduce it from scratch. The shape had already been engraved into his very soul. It had been a part of Shiro Emiya for so long that he perfectly memorized it. I see. I have the sheath anyway. You are my sheath. His fingertips, desperately reaching, move again. They grab hold of the object created without concentration or spellcasting. The world turns on its head, darkness eradicated by golden light, and Shiro's grasp duplicated flawlessly his saber's sheath. And so, As is all destroying light burns away everything in its path, Saber releases her own noble phantasm. What? What appears before her is, without question, the sacred sword's sheath. The mystics which shroud it are unknown, but the sheath repels A's light. No, this is beyond simply defending its wielder. Instead, it cuts her off completely. The wall that keeps the filth of the outside world from fairyland, a world that cannot be reached, forever isolated from the rest of the world. Saber is protected by the sheath of the sacred sword, and for a moment she exists apart from all reason and logic in this world. It is the greatest protection in the world. Nothing, not even the 5 magics, can pierce this perfect defense. And so the sheath is named Avalon. Avalon, it is the place King Arthur is said to have gone after dying. The utopia the king dreamed of but could not yet reach. Gilgamesh sees the Grim Reaper raising its scythe. But it's too late. It won't stop rotating. Gilgamesh can't retreat. How could he? Who could ever have believed an attack with so much magical energy, such a magical power, could ever be blocked? How dare you stoop to such a petty trick? A streak of blue surges forward. Saber's armor is gone. She's shed her armor so she can use its magical energy in her sword. Nice. There we go. Finally. We got him. At the moment he takes the sheath, the darkness is dispelled. The darkness surrounding Shiramiya, the darkness that contaminated his body, fades all at once. Impossible. But this should come as no surprise. The sacred sword's sheath protects its owner. That filthy mud could not possibly destroy the embodiment of the utopia the girl sought. He runs. In the instant the darkness is dispelled, he moves with all speed of a comet. Projection? Who the hell are you? The priest is so assured of his own strength, and the boy, who could afford no such arrogance, face off. It is but an instant, but that instant decides the battle. Kirito Kotomine! Shiramiya runs, sometimes stumbling onto all fours. In one hand he holds the dagger. He scrambles forward on his hands and knees towards the priest. Ooh, yep. There we go. That was brutal. Shiro doesn't stop. He thrusts the dagger of retribution into the priest's chest. The priest turns slowly, before he can leave. Shiro steps down on one foot to ground himself, and turns in a circle using the momentum of his dash. He inverts himself like a top, and he floods his left hand with magical energy. Like a whirlwind. Ooh. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. His magical energy pours into the Azoth blade, along with the word to trigger its release. You loved when it all comes together like that. Saber swings her golden sword. She must not have had the energy to push herself back up. Saber keeps her sword down, head down. Gilgamesh stares wide-eyed at the knight as she cuts him in half. In the silence after, the wind whispers through the compound. There remains not a trace of the lights that had flooded the area seconds ago. The two knights do not exchange words. They simply stand facing each other as the battle ends. Gilgamesh sighs. He lifts a hand and traces a finger along her cheek, as if to check the knight. Such an impudent woman, who opposed me to the very end. His golden armor begins to fade. The bloody king of heroes starts to disappear. But I shall forgive you. Some things are beautiful precisely because they are unobtainable. His finger slips away from her. The arm he'd raised to touch her falls weakly. I suppose it was inevitable then that I would lose to you. He clicks his tongue in displeasure. And then at the end, farewell, King of Knights. It certainly was entertaining. He smiles ironically and vanishes. Pale blue sparks flicker along the priest's form. They spread in all directions, from where the dagger protrudes from his chest. No flesh falls away, and there's no sign of bleeding. Even so, the battle comes to an end. He's not even looking at me. Instead, he stares down at the dagger in his chest in confusion. The wind is blowing. A gust of wind blows from the hollow overhead, muffling the sound around him. In the silence that follows, why do you have that sword? Kodomina's voice is low, mumbling. It's not mine. Tosaka lent it to me. I'm not sure how long he was thinking. He takes a deep breath and finally moves, having been motionless from the moment I charged him and impaled him with the blade. I see. I once gave it to some girl as a gift, maybe 10 years ago. Yes. No wonder I've gotten so weak. Kotomine collapses. I watched it all unfold. Even on the brink of death, he spoke of himself as if he were talking about someone else. Finally, the priest sinks into that which he summoned, the very thing he wished for. And that is the end of Kirei Kotomine. The true end of a long battle. But is Ilya okay? With the enemy defeated, only one task remains. The dark hollow in the sky. The mud has stopped pouring from it, but that eerie void continues to quicken. Is it growing? I feel like it's growing. It's the Holy Grail. Maybe I'm just insane. The omnipotent Grail said to be given to the winner of this war. The wind howls. With Kotomine gone, power binding Ilya vanishes. It has been released from the hollow, and now she sleeps beside me. She doesn't seem to be in danger of dying. She'll probably wake up after we go home and have to cycle look her over. The war has ended. Is this my first time with Fate? Oh yeah, this is my first time with any Fate material. First time reading any of the novels. Haven't seen any anime or anything, so yeah. No one else will get hurt. We won't have to lose anyone else now. No more masters, and the servants will disappear now that their roles are over. I knew this was going to happen. I climbed those long stairs with her earlier. We've already said our goodbyes. All that's left is to bring the curtain down on this whole war. I look up at the hollow and wait. My heart is empty as that void. And then she appears. She walks straight towards me, looking no different than when we first met. She stops once we're close enough to touch each other. We neither ask about each other's well-being nor offer any congratulations. This has already been decided. There's only one thing left to do. I will destroy the Holy Grail. That is my role. Saber starts walking forward. The strong winds coming from the hollow do not deter her. She approaches one step at a time. She's within range. She quietly readies her sword and looks up at the black hollow. I just watch from where I stand. I clench my fists so hard they bleed. I bite my lip and try to hold back the feelings fighting for expression. I try to burn the image of her into my mind. And then... Master, your orders, please. Without your order, I cannot destroy that thing. Her back still to me, she tells me to use my final command spell. When the Holy Grail is destroyed, Saber will disappear. Now, since Saber will destroy the Holy Grail with her own hands, she won't have to become a servant. She only becomes a servant because she sought the Holy Grail. Destroying the Holy Grail should also void her contract since she will have chosen to do it. The moment she destroys the Holy Grail, her life will end, but she'll remain king forever? Cheryl, I'd like to hear it from your own lips. I hear Saber. Every time I hear her voice, I want to scream. I want to tell her not to go. I want to scream my real, honest desire. I want her to stay. And yet, I can't ever, ever say that. I love Saber. I want her to be happy more than anything else, and I want to be with her forever. But if I really love her, that's not what I should be doing. I love Saber for fighting her hardest, even when she was wounded. She gave up everything, and while she was torn apart, she still held her conviction, even to the very end. If I think that is beautiful, if I think that is something worth protecting, then I can't destroy everything she stood for just for my own happiness. She was born a king, and that's how she lived. Nothing can change that. From the moment she drew the sword and made her vow, she was a king. Nothing else. That is her conviction. She fought her battles until the very end, believing she was doing the right thing. The dream of a young girl named Altria. She abandoned her own life and chose to be king. She chose to fight. Even when she was told that everything she does would go unrewarded, she still wielded the sword and kept to her vow as king. That lasted for many years. I can't do anything to tarnish the pride she held to until her final moments. Saber, fulfill your duty. Please. My voice is heavy with emotion. Light flares around us. The brilliant ray cuts the hollow in front of us in half, leaving no trace of it. Nothing remains. The mountain's summit has been blasted away, leaving only a smoldering wasteland behind. In the distance, the first rays of dawn light the sky. A glimmer of gold peeks over the horizon. My left hand hurts. The final command spell disappears. And then I accept that it is finally over. So it has come to an end. Yeah, this is the end. There's nothing left. I see. Then our contract has also ended. I was your sword. I defeated your enemies and protected you. I'm glad I could keep that pledge. Yeah, you did well, Saber. I don't know what else to say. Saber's far away. I don't try to run to her. The sun rises. The wind starts to pick up. A golden glimmer shines, seeming to last forever. In it, there's one thing I must tell you. I can hear the determination in her voice. Yeah? What is it? I try to at least sound strong. Saber sways. She turns. Saber looks straight at me and says, her voice clear, I love you, Shiro. Oh. She said it. The wind blows over the mountaintop. For a moment I close my eyes, blinded by the morning sun, and then I open them again. Oh, and she's gone. I don't think I was surprised. I just had a feeling. Our goodbye was always going to be like this. All I see is the wasteland. Saber's gone, carried off by the gusting wind. Just like when she appeared. She left with grace, without a trace. Yeah. That's so like you. There are no regrets in my voice. Every memory, both of what I've lost and what I've gained, remains in my heart. I'll keep them all there. Forever. I look out at the rising sun, hoping I never forget any of this, that none of it fades from my mind for a long time to come. I watch the morning glow spreading over the distant land below. It reminds me of the golden fields she'd fought on,